Hello again and welcome to another edition of Southern Country. Hi, I'm Herb Sutton and welcome to the show, my friends. On this show, I'm very lucky to have DreamWorks recording artist Michelle Poe. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on the show, Michelle. All right, Just One of Those Boys, a fun and catchy tune. The video is clever. Explain what it means by clever when we talk about the video.
Well, Just One of the Boys incorporates exactly who I am. It's kind of a description of who I am. I've been on the road touring. I toured with Steve Holy for about 3 years, playing bass and singing backgrounds for him. And he took some time off and went back in the studio to record another album. And Jerks called me right at the perfect moment and said, I'm putting a band together and my career's about to bust open and you want to be a part of it? And I said, absolutely. So, I'd been on the road for a total of like 4 years, so that pretty much automatically makes me just one of the boys.
One of the boys. All right, let's talk about a couple other songs on the CD. How about Love Sure Looks Good on You? A little romantic tune?
It is. It's a beautiful song. This song has so much magic to it. This is one of the songs that James Stroud signed me for at DreamWorks. He heard this song and fell in love with it and signed me to a record deal before he even knew who I was or what I looked like or had ever been introduced to me. He said, let's get her and sign her up.
Voice only.
Thank you for, this song. I'm very grateful for whatever magic it had that he heard in it.
What about Love City?
Love City is the B side of the single. It's on the opposite side of Just One of the Boys, and it's just a honky-tonk love song, one of the happiest songs on the record.
What else is on there?
We've got 4 that I wrote on there. I was proud to write a third of the record. Unfortunately, I didn't write the single, but a friend of mine wrote it specifically for me, and now Tammy and I write together all the time. So, but a friend of mine described me to her as a gunslinger with grace, and she just thought that was a really cool idea, and she wrote that song just for me, and it's everything I am and then some.
Let me ask you, this question will come up later, but while we're on the subject, a song that you don't write, how do you adapt it to Michelle? It's handed to you, you like the song. How has it become a Michelle song? You have to feel those music in order to sing it right.
Absolutely. You really have to make it your own and, use your own licks and your own form of expression and whatever the song makes you feel and somehow it moves you in that way. That's, the way you express yourself when you're singing it. It's like free therapy.
I read that too in your bio. Music is therapy for you.
It is, absolutely.
Now, Just One of the Boys, you didn't write that song.
That's
one of the ones you didn't write. But it's due out on radio in April, the end of the month, and the album is due out release in the 29th of June.
That's correct.
And you autographed 2,000 CD covers. How did you do? Did you get writer's cramp?
Not too bad.
No.
We've got a lot of downtime on the road when we're traveling on the bus, and it took me about 10 hours to sign them all, but I did it willingly and with a smile on my face.
There you go. Now, who's going to get the 2,000? How do you distribute those 2,000?
I'm not sure what DreamWorks is going to do with those. If they're going to be like winners CDs or distribute those to radio or people like you who are helping advertise me.
I want to make sure we have this MichellePoe.com. Great website. Great
Thank you very much.
I saw that. Despite what the song says, you are not just one of the boys, obviously. Have you ever been mistaken for a boy doing all the lugging that you do and schlepping the gear around and all that kind of stuff and all the guy stuff?
Yeah, I'll have my baseball cap on during the day and my hair tied up underneath, and some of the guys won't know big sweatshirts on.
Obviously they're blind.
But, just one of the boys, that's just who I am. I've been doing this for so long and hanging out with guys and it's just part of me, and just because I have the girl parts doesn't really.
Now, flying airplanes, you wanted to, because a man's job, I read, and you wanted to be in control.
Yeah, people had suggested when I was going to flight school that, I could be a flight attendant or do ticket sales or things like that, but, I wanted to do the big job. That's what I went to school for, and that was my early desire. And I did get my pilot's license, but I'm not current. I haven't flown in a long time.
Have you ever? What was the biggest plane you flew?
Probably just a little four-seater. Cessnas were basically what I flew.
Have you had ideas of flying commercial?
Yeah, that was my goal. When I moved to Tennessee, I wanted to get my commercial pilot's license and fly for an airline.
Wow.
Yeah. But just got sidetracked by music. I played music all through college. That's what got me through college.
I was going to say, you earned a living.
Yeah, I did. And you know, I just felt like God was leading me in that direction, and
Right.
He'd given me a gift, and I didn't want to abuse it or
Run with
misuse
it.
it. So,
You can always go back to flying.
that's right.
You can always update your license. And
Yeah, there's
fly.
lots of country music people out there, and stars in the industry and stuff
Just
that
well,
have their own
another
planes.
question. I
and-
was just thinking, would you fly your band around if you had the opportunity?
I would love to.
Would you?
Yeah,
Can
absolutely.
you imagine? Can you imagine sitting in the back and having Michelle flying? No, I don't think I can imagine that. No. That would be a first for me. Okay. All right, just one of the boys. Let's look at the video now. Just one of the boys. Tell us something that nobody will ever know about the taping of this video or the song that they're just going to hear right now. What happened unusual?
Okay, here's a little tidbit. It was getting towards the end of the night, and we were moving to the other location, another location where we did kind of the scenes on the girly girl scenes on the bed, you know, and stuff. And so my mom was there on the shoot with us the whole day, and she was kind of making a turn out of McDonald's, following us all around, and she got pulled over by the cops
The day to shoot.
for expired tags, and we still had one more little scene to shoot. And so if you look really close towards the last scene when we're going up to Hog Heaven to get something to eat after we'd been partying all night, there's a little scene, if you look real close, like split second, you can see the blue lights swirling around, and that's my mom getting pulled over.
Oh my gosh. What I read on your bios is that you've paid your dues over the years. How many last calls have you heard over the years?
Too many to count. I
There you
mean,
go.
some say I've overpaid my dues, so I'm ready for my turn in the spotlight.
And you worked for tips in a lot of bars?
Oh, yeah, for years. Down on Broadway,
Right.
Tootsie's and Legends and the stage and the Turf when it used to be there, and Printer's Alley when it used to be Skull's Rainbow and the Carousel.
How many years have you been in Nashville?
I've been there since '91.
Oh, you're 91. You've been down there that long. And it took you this long through playing all the local pubs, local bars to be
You know that
discovered.
Alan Jackson song, "And Lordy, Don't the Wheels Turn Slow"?
Yeah.
That's true.
You kinda
But it's
hope-
worth the wait.
You kind of hope for something a lot sooner, I'm sure.
You know what? I was enjoying playing music and traveling on the road, so I wasn't in too much of a rush to get this record out. I just let the timing work itself out, and you know, I couldn't be in a better place than right now.
How many Nashville clubs have you played since you arrived in town? Just a bunch.
Just
There's all of them.
all of them.
How many bands have you played in to reach the point that you are in now? Do you know?
Well, we had a family
Yeah.
band growing up. I was 8
Okay.
years old.
Wow.
And after that, it was just every possible club date I could get my hands on, just random bands. I mean, some bands that just hired me for the night.
Just for bass playing? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, you mentioned Steve Hall, and now you're traveling with Dirk Bentley, he's doing great.
He is. We're really proud of his success.
With all the bands that with all these bands that you were kind of the beautiful lady in the background. How does it feel to be the front person with the band now?
Well, you know, yeah, I've always been the support in the band, but it feels like a natural progression. I've been doing it for so long, you
sure.
know. I used to just get a few songs in the spotlight and then, you know, slink back into the shadows, but it just feels like I'm supposed to be there now.
From the shadows to the limelight.
Yeah.
Music has always been a fun job, where flying, I read, was a business. Had you ever fly for money?
No.
No, you
I
just
did
flew
not.
around.
I would, like in college, I would fly my friends around to Bowling Green. We'd go up and have dinner or down to Fayetteville and have lunch or something. And I'd let go of the controls and pretend like they were
Oh,
flying.
my
They'd be
God.
scared to death,
I
and
bet.
they'd never fly with me again.
I want to make mention to everybody that doesn't know this, that Michelle has a BS in Aerospace Administration from Middle Tennessee State University. And while in school, your ambition was to become a pilot, a commercial pilot, which you mentioned. Do you ever think of piloting a blimp? There's only 4 women in the world, I think, isn't it?
No,
Something
is
like
that true?
Yeah, that's a special
That's an
deal.
interesting tidbit there.
Yeah, I read the whole story. There's a lady that flies a Goodyear blimp, and she's 28 years old, and she's one of 4, I think, in the world.
Huh.
That's hard to believe. 'Cause
That's
usually a man's-
admirable.
There's
I-
a man's job.
I never thought of the blimp, an airship. I don't know.
Airship. That's the word, yeah. All right, what did breaking your leg at the Jimmy Buffett concert have to do with you being where you are today?
I guess that's one of the reasons I got sidetracked. I
That's it.
fell behind in my studies. I couldn't. I had to relearn to walk again, and I've got 3 pounds of titanium from my hip all the way down to my ankle, and bolts and screws keeping me together. But it was a pretty bad fall. I fell like
20 feet.
23 and a half feet.
Wow.
And actually, it looked like there was a walkway behind the last row seats
Right.
at the Buffett concert, and so the guy I was with, being the gentleman that he was, let me go first, and we just jumped over the railing,
Boom.
thinking there was a walkway, but there wasn't. It
Both
was
of you
just,
went down?
Well, he saw me fall, and then
Right.
was able to stop himself. But
Wow. Did
So-
that titanium sets off metal detectors?
yes, I do. And the airport's always a hassle.
And they warn you when you go through?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. How did you get to Tennessee from South Florida? You were raised and went to school in South Florida.
Well, my dad was in the music business. He played steel guitar for Charlie Pride
Oh,
and
yeah,
Donna
right.
Fargo, and Opry was kind of a regular Saturday night gig for him. And he met my mom down in Florida and grew up there, went to high school there, but eventually relocated back to Nashville. He wanted to continue playing music and wanted to get me involved in music as well. But of course, I had my sights set on the sky.
That's it.
But like I said before, when I broke my leg, I fell way behind in my studies, and so I ended up switching from commercial pilot emphasis over to administration, and then I kind of lost a little bit of interest in it, and I knew I couldn't finish in the amount of time that I was there.
Right.
So and music was just becoming a priority in my life, so I just followed that road.
I read you're a straight A student.
I am.
There you go.
I did get one C in college, though.
Oh.
It killed me. It killed me. But the teacher, he didn't speak English.
Makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah. I had trouble with that. Lots of tears shed over
I'll
that
bet.
C.
Oh, my God. You were singing, the first time you sang, was it 2 years old with the Star-Spangled Banner?
That's correct.
Yeah?
And I just
Where
sang
was
it
that?
2 days ago at the Marlins game. The
Oh, yeah,
opening
right. You
season.
do that in
Mhm.
Florida, right.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever
Yep.
sang it live or in front of anybody since I was like 2 years old. Mom said I used to run around the house singing that song.
Oh, you couldn't pick a better song.
But that was a rush to sing that.
2 years old.
I'm 2 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty, some people don't even talk at 2 years old. Here's a girl singing. Did you ever sing for money in Florida?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, did.
I sang at the Fort Lauderdale
Okay.
Swap Shop with
Oh,
our family
right,
band for
okay.
years and years, and
Always played bass?
always played bass.
How long have you been playing guitar? How did you pick it up?
It had the least amount of strings.
All
No,
right.
since my dad played guitar, my mom played keyboard, and we had a drum machine kind
Oh,
of
okay,
sequenced
right.
all our songs, so it just fit that I play bass. That was the last instrument left.
Do you think that playing an instrument helps an artist get a job or get the foot in the door in the business?
Absolutely. I mean, Dirk said it, even if my career doesn't take off, he's like, you always have a job
There you go.
in my band. So, and that it really earns a lot of respect from other musicians too, that you can hold your own in a band. And
Yeah. You can jam.
yeah,
There you go. Were you always country music, or did you kind of stray into other musical fields?
always a country music
There you
fan.
go.
I do like some of the 80s rock and roll, like Journey, and Dirks makes fun of me. He always says the 80s called, they
right.
want their music back. But I was country when country wasn't cool, kind of like that Barbara Mandrell song.
Exactly. I've been country when country wasn't cool, too.
Yeah, I
In
didn't-
fact, I talked to Aaron Tippin years ago, and he said country was so out where he was, and he's a South Carolina boy. He used to roll his windows up to drive through town because he had his radio blasting all the time, and he didn't want anybody to think that he was uncool.
Well,
you
I
know?
had no shame. I had a convertible Mustang growing up. I spent all the money I made playing in bands on that
Right.
car, and I'd let it rip. I'd turn
Yeah.
it up real loud and sing, and I didn't care who heard me or laughed or.
How did DreamWorks find you?
DreamWorks found me. Don Cook played him that song, "Love Sure Looks Good on You." I had had a developmental deal with Gaylord, and they closed their doors
Right,
soon
sure.
afterwards. So I had this 4-song demo, and Don Cook and Alex Torres shopped it around for me at a couple of different the labels, and we were really looking hard at DreamWorks and hoped they liked me. And like I said, James Stroud heard something magical in that song and signed me to a deal.
What does Sony Tree have to do? You were a writer for them? Mm-hmm.
Alex Torres, yes, got me started writing. I said I've always written in journals and was interested in creative writing growing up, but had never put it in song form. And so he hooked me up with, the best writers Nashville has to offer, and I'm really grateful. They helped shape and mold my feelings into songs.
And how does that differ? Writing a song different from writing in your diary every day?
Diary, I guess, has a few more details than I want to express.
Okay, that'll work. Are you as comfortable on the stage as you are in the air now?
I'm more comfortable on stage,
On
yeah.
stage,
Yeah.
okay.
I'd be rusty if I got back up in the plane. I'd have to do some touch and goes and refresh my memory a little bit on all the rules.
Have you ever been recognized off the stage by anybody on the street, or whether you
Only when I'm with Dirk Bentley.
Only when Dirk Bentley. All right. How long did it take? Oh, how long did it take you to, from the time you signed the the label deal, to make this CD? What was the window of time there?
It's been a couple of years. I mean, I call this record a project of patience because we took a lot of time and careful consideration in our song selection. And like I said before, I wasn't in a rush to get this record out. I was doing what I love to do, and you know, I didn't necessarily want to write every song on the record. I just wanted great songs on there. I didn't care if they came from outside sources.
The next question is, who picked the songs for that CD?
I had a lot to do with that.
Good.
They gave me a lot of creative control
That's
over
the word.
the first record. Yeah.
That's the word. Were you nervous recording the CD?
No, not really, because we had lived with the songs for so long, and I was real comfortable with them.
When you say you lived with them, did you road test them out on the road with Dirk's band?
No, I wasn't with Dirks yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you, when you recorded the CD, did you use session people?
Did I use session?
musicians?
Yeah. I put the bass down to let Glenn Moore
Okay, you didn't even play
I didn't
bass
mind
on it.
doing that.
Now you're going to be on a promotional tour pretty soon with this new CD. Where do you plan on going? Where do they have you scheduled to go?
Well, actually, we're trying to incorporate playing with Dirks and being on tour with
good.
him to
That'd be
incorporate the
cool.
radio tour. So just make it more convenient, and we're already playing the big stations in major markets. So, and I know radio a lot already just from playing with Steve and Dirks and
You've
being
been
on
there.
tour with George Strait. And
How'd that feel?
It was great.
He's phenomenal.
He's such a class act.
What do you do for hobbies to relax?
I love to read, and we get so little time to sleep. Sleeping's such a luxury.
All right, that's a hobby, right?
Yeah.
Relax. And you're a Harley Davidson fan?
Harley Davidson fan. One of my producers promised me a Harley Davidson, a lowrider, when I finished my record. And unfortunately, he won't let me come pick it up because I haven't taken the course yet. I don't know how to ride it.
You don't have a motorcycle license yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But as soon as we're home for 3 days and I can take the course, he said, you're welcome to come pick it
There
up.
you
So
go.
it's waiting in the wings.
Influences. Who were your influences?
Dolly Parton was a big influence on me. Emmylou Harris, Linda Ronstadt, Ricky Skaggs.
All right. Well, they're good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should be doing real good with influences like that. You didn't style yourself after any of those influences. You kind of you're Michelle Poe, that's it.
I think so. You know, and Steve Warner, I really liked his
He's
singing
great. He's
style.
great. Yeah. You're creating your own identity, in other words.
Yeah, I hope so. No one's ever told me that I sound, exactly like anybody else. No one can put their finger on it, and I kind of pride myself on that because I don't want to sound like anybody else.
Do you feel like you're breaking the boundaries with the music you're playing, or you're more traditional country or new country?
I'm not really sure if you could actually put my music in a category. I
Okay.
mean, because when you listen to the record, it's so extreme. It's like really slow, some heartbreak songs, all the way to the real honky-tonk kind of gritty redneck songs.
you
So
go.
I'm not really sure if anybody could fit me in a nice, neat category, but, I take pride in that too.
What's the most important lesson you learned so far in all the years of playing all those honky-tonks and everything? What was the one lesson you learned that you're going to use to go forward with?
Be patient with the fans. Patience and graciousness and gratitude and remembering people's names is very important.
Yeah, they appreciate that.
Yeah.
How many songs do you know to play, music and words? If I had to ask you what your catalog is in your head of songs, would you say 100, 200, 300, 500? Request songs. You must play a lot of requests in those honky-tonks downtown.
Yeah, we did, but I wasn't the lead singer
okay.
either,
You
so I
just
didn't have to
strum
play
along.
4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually, I'd say maybe 200 songs. Yeah.
All right. What embarrassing moments did you ever have on stage in all the years?
My zipper, I played at Legends one time, and my mom said, your zipper's down. And
Oh,
I
my
said,
God.
oh, no, it isn't. But it was actually stuck. It was
Okay.
stuck down, and we had the club owners out with knives and scissors trying to work it back
What
up.
do you think of that,
I couldn't
huh?
get out of, I literally could not get out of my jeans. It was one of the back zippers.
Oh, back zipper. Oh,
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Oh, well, that took the fun out of that one. All right. Who have you opened for so far? I mentioned George Strait and...
We're on the Kenny Chesney tour right now.
that's right.
Mhm,
I read that.
With Keith Urban. we're having a blast out there on the road. We only play 20 minutes, though. It's unfortunate. Dirk's let me sing my single when we were opening for George Strait. We had 30 minutes,
Wow.
but we only get 4 songs on this tour. So, but he plugs it really well, and you know, Kenny's really good about. He's going to get us up on stage and
Right,
keep the
good.
crowd informed of what's going on.
Thank you very much for being on the show. Appreciate it, Michelle.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being part of
Okay.
Southern Country.